Oh no, I just realised I didn't have a button for this angle. Hi Clara, how are you? Okay, if I turn that... You're never early enough. Yes, and it's warm enough for just a t-shirt as well, Clara. Look, just a t-shirt is warm enough because the heating is fixed. Oh, the oil tank is there, if you know what I mean. Exactly. Exactly. Right, I need to sort my positioning out for this. Where do I lean? Where do I lean when I'm reading? Just, I want to be on the middle of the screen. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Brie. This is the Xbox angle. But full screen Xbox angle. What are we reading tonight? My favourite book ever since I was a child. It is called Clots and Calamities. It's called Clots and Calamities. The Diary of a Peasant Farmer. And it was written in... it was published in 1988. Hi, Adrienne. Adrienne, why shouty? Tell me why my phone auto-completes gorgeous with... No idea. Sorry, Adrienne, I never saw... This is terrible. Adrienne, how are you today? Why did my eyes skip? My eyes must have skipped over that as if it was like a head pat or whatever. It was not. My brain must have made that like a head pat command. I don't know. My brain had overskipped it. I'm good, thank you. Adrienne, we are reading my favorite book. This is the book that I wouldn't say I'll lend to people, but if people want to find out about the kind of thing, the kind of life I grew up in, I lend you this book or find this book. So I'm going to read, and it's a diary, so it's in short bursts. So how are we? No shouting. You're so ready, are you? Okay, let's go live on TikTok then. And then let's not be ready. Right, I've turned off most of the sounds for the mix it up stuff, but the head pads will still work. And I've turned off most of the sounds for TikTok as well. So we just need to go. I need to update that. This will be reading. Add a topic. Go back. Gaming chat. Learn. Entertainment. No. It'll have to be chat and interview. Save. Okay. What's going on? Right. You want to know everything? Are you talking about me, Clara? No, your colour's fine, Adrian. It was just that because it comes up with a box around you saying moderator, it's a similar box. It's a similar thing when there's all the head pats and stuff. I think that's what it was. So my brain just skipped. So it wasn't the colour of your writing. Alu, we are reading this book. This book I've had since 1988. It's even signed by the author. Your brain, see, there you go. It's not just me. Right, let's go live on TikTok. So for any moderators if you want to hang out over there, just in case we get some viewers. I know you're just taking the piss. You always are. Right, go live on the TikTok. Okay, we are live on the TikTok. A little bit later than I expected, but we are there. But yeah, moderators, if there's people in TikTok gifting on following, please thank them. I mean, each little section is like quite short, so there probably is going to be lots of breaks. I mean, you can see there's like day 6 or whatever because it's a diary. It's that kind of setup. So we'll give TikTok a second to get in. Did we gain more followers when I was offline? Nice. Need to collect lunch. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I think some of the others are hiding over to TikTok. So the choice was either Clouds of Calamities or what was the other one? Pride and Prejudice. But I thought Pride and Prejudice, I'm just going to stammer over everything. 3 minutes, you need some tea. Okay, you have 3 minutes. Hello, TikTok, if you are there. I need to go to... Hi, Tony. Laura, we haven't seen you here for ages. Where have you been? Hi, Amber. I can see everybody popping in. Why have I moved that over there? I don't need it over there because I'm looking in the completely wrong direction. If I close that, then it'll all become part of there, and then I can make the screen bigger. Yay. I'm not crowding everything onto the what's it called? The teleprompter. Welcome, everybody. Slightly different style of stream tonight, but I hope you're well. Oh, I even got the positioning of the scrolling text in a good place as well, above the chat. Hi, Robert-Kane, how are you doing? Welcome, Bree. Hi, Laney. Laney, how are you doing? We are so close up. We are, Bree. Yes, this is unfortunately this is small as I could make myself on TikTok. Purple app has a more reasonable view of me. TikTok is very close up. Hi, Ohms. This is up and personal. Love it. Hi, Grass Cow. Grass Cow, how are you doing? Hi, Hermit. Double duty, Adrian. Nice. Well, to be honest, I don't think Purple App will need much modding, so it's all good. User, how's the weather? It's actually all right. It's pretty mild. I'm down to a t-shirt, so it's not bad at all. It's a bit overcast. I am Alice. Nice, Grass Cow. What am I having for dinner this Christmas? Probably turkey, The same as every other year. Lizzie, you achieved that big goal. Almost exclusively. Right. Lizzie, yay, Lizzie streaking. Lizzie with a 3-stream streak. Right, okay. Should we make a start, everybody? Clara, do you have your tea ready? I hope you do. I can't see how many people are here. Lou, thank you for that. Thank you for the heart to me. I am big on screen. I am, Aurora. There's nothing I can do about it, though. Thank you for the follow, Ryan. Thank you for the shares. Okay, guys, I'm gonna jump into read mode. So, mods, it's down to you. No worries, Aurora. Have a good evening. Okay, so tonight we are reading not Pride and Prejudice or anything like that. We are reading Clarts and Calamities, The Diary of a Peasant Farmer, which is basically kind of how I grew up. So you'll get that type of thing. Tony. Hope you're well, Tony. Thank you for the shares, Tony. Thank you for the share, Aura. Okay, so introduction. This diary bears little resemblance to those produced previously by Pepys, Crossman, Mole, or that Edwardian lady. It records nothing of great political or social significance, or if it does, it's accidental. These are simply the daily scribblings of some umpteenth generation peasant. There's no clue to his identity, only his circumstances, and if the reader recognises a father, brother, husband, next-door neighbour, or even themselves, fair enough. This is a year in the life of a bloke who'll never drive a Porsche, seldom wear a tie, and doesn't commute to work, because he's there already. He's been there since the first ewe lambed, the first cow was milked, the first field was of wheat harvested, and he still hasn't made any money, or so he says. But he's still there. January. Thursday, January 1st, New Year's Day. A canny morning, cold and clear. Frost rind on everything. Very still. I might have enjoyed it if I felt my normal self, but I didn't. It was Charlie's fault, of course. Charlie and Hilda farm next door, and we always end up at their place to see the new year in. He's one of those well-marinated old gaffers who can soak up the pop, and it never has much effect. Not me, though. I generally know my limits. But last night, Charlie somehow dragged me way beyond them. There was little sympathy from Gladys, who was obviously feeling fine. She skipped about all bleeding day, singing "The Hills Are Alive." And the evil woman produced an enormous mixed grill for my dinner. Slept most of the afternoon, and woke up in an even worse condition. Haven't had a cigarette yet today. I might stop altogether. Fed the cattle after tea. They seem to be blaring much louder than usual. Sweep appears to be in excellent health too, but of course he wasn't at Charlie's last night. Friday, January the 2nd. Haven't had a smoke since 2 o'clock yesterday morning, but I feel a lot better today, and giving them up doesn't seem such a good idea now. Fed the yows after breakfast, one short. Sweep finds her lying as stiff as a post in a rig bottom. To be honest, I've been expecting her to go for a few days. She hasn't come through the troughs for a week and was looking like an anorexic goat. Now she's surrounded by a funeral party of crows, and the fox has already had a quick snack from the carcass. The bitch. She's had 20 quid's worth of wonder drugs since Christmas. So much for modern science. Saturday, January 3rd. I forgot to have the dead sheep removed, didn't I? And of course, the entire 7th Cavalry, the 7th Cavalry, the Hunt, galloped right past the remains. Not much left now. Naturally, they frightened the rest of the flock into a heap in the far corner of the field, except for the very lame ones, who struggled gamely to join their mates. I saw several riders laughing and pointing at the deceased. After dinner, drew the curtains and watched grandstand till they'd all gone. Where am I up to? When I went to feed the bullocks, one of them had put his foot through the ballcock, and there was a lake in the Hemel. Mending it was no fun. Water ice cold, all the bullocks licking my backside and chewing on my anorak while I was fixing the thing. Sneaked the first fag of the new year, tasted lovely. It's going to be difficult. Gladys says if I don't give them up, I'll have a heart attack. Charlie lost a collie dog with a heart attack Charlie lost a collie dog once with a heart attack. I never saw it smoking. Now on television, never is on a Saturday. Fell asleep during a goalless draw and match of the day. Gladys woke me up at 11:30 and so to bed. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? Thank you for the roses and the heart me's and the popcorn populars, etc. Hi, Scott. Scott, how are you doing? We haven't seen you for a little while. Such a farmer's response. Lucy, you'll be enjoying this, won't you? I'm gonna have to catch up on all the comments. I'll have to have a read through later. Okay, Sunday, January 4th. I always wake up with a little apprehensive on a Sunday. All I want to do is read the papers, eat roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, doze in the chair. When I went outside to feed the zoo, all seemed quiet. But I should have known. The big Hemel was empty. We eventually found the bullocks in the churchyard, terrifying the devout as they emerged from communion, and knocking down a few old gravestones. One mad Charolais took a fancy to Mrs. Simpson for some reason and chased her back into the sanctuary of the church. The vicar reacted with little Christian charity. Had another cigarette when we brought them all home again, but Gladys saw me, so I had to nip it. Monday, January 5th. Kids back at school. Willie, son and heir to the overdraft, will have to do better this year. If he doesn't stick in and do some real work, he could be condemned to a life in agriculture. Anyway, now that he's not at home for dinner every day, perhaps I'll get the crust off the new loaf and the small new potatoes. Gladys watched a holiday programme on TV and says she'll get some brochures tomorrow. This sounds serious. Daughter Doreen goes back to the poly secretarial course. She hopes to get a job in the bank someday. And I need all the influence I can get there, that's for sure. But it'll be a while yet. Meanwhile, I expect she'll get chatted up by a bunch of hairy, spotty, left-wing students all doing sociology. Somebody called Melvin picks her up every morning in a yellow Citroen. He's got ginger hair and wears dark glasses, even in the house. He calls me Squire. What's going on? Grass cow. Thank you for the 111 roses. Shanine, thank you for the 10 roses. Tuesday, January the 6th. Epiphany. This diary is becoming hard work already. What the hell am I writing it for? Who on earth is going to read it? Gladys says, keep going, 'cause it's for prosperity, and might be a bestseller when I'm dead. She says she'll sell up and here's the stammer kicking in. She says she'll sell up when I'm dead and go on a world cruise. Meet a rich widower who doesn't smoke or drink or swear, and live happily ever after in Torquay, where it's warm. There's palm trees in Torquay, she says, and retired generals and old ladies with purple hair and string ensembles playing Strauss waltzes while you have your tea. The dog's been missing all day. I assume it was off with the nymphomaniac Jack Russell from the village again, but it came back with Willie. Followed him to school, he said. I don't suppose he discouraged it. Popular demand. Are you sure it's popular demand? Welcome, everybody. Wednesday, January 7th. Mart Day. Took 2 hours to get hogs off the turnips. They wouldn't come out through the open gate. Just ran around in rings while I swore and screamed at them. And Sweep got huffed and confused. Finally, I shut the gate and loosened the rail in the fence 20 yards further up. They went through that hole, 5 at a time, and set off up the road, the wrong way, as if the hounds of hell were after them. By the time the last few were through, the first ones were a mile away in the village. Eventually got a dozen right good uns drawn off the pens and took them up to the grading. The grader, known hereabouts as Gaddafi, because the man's power crazy and you can't argue with him, rejected 5 for being too fat. Charlie had a few rejected as well, and we were both quite upset about it. Charlie threatened to assassinate the bloke by shoving his pain stick somewhere uncomfortable, but that attitude won't get him anywhere. He'll just get more ejected next week, or at best, 4 kilos knocked off. Anyways, he couldn't understand what Gaddafi's response was. He comes from Yorkshire. Gladys has 17 brochures specialising in everything from overland safaris in the Hindu Kush to a British Rail weekend in Tower. There's one, I see, deals with holidays for the over 50s in Torquay. Took the remaining lambs back to the turnips, but forgot I'd shut the gate. Of course, they couldn't find the hole in the fence this time and went straight past into the winter wheat. It's snowing. Thursday, January 8th. Still snowing. Is this 47 all over again? There's a hog wrapped up in the electric fence. The rest have trampled over the top of him and found their way back to the wheat. Forgot to turn the troughs in the back field yesterday, so naturally they're full of snow. While I was cleaning them out, the owls knocked me down, and 2 of them managed to eat all the barley meals and nuts before I could get up again. These 2 will probably explode tomorrow. Gladys fancies some Greek island called Galapagos, or something like that. They're all the same to me. I said we couldn't possibly afford it. Reminded her of the 5 rejects, so it would be far too hot. Asked her who would look after the stock, etc., etc. She didn't listen, just went on turning the pages and smiling a lot. It's still snowing. We have about 5 inches already. If the wind blows, we could be blocked in by morning. Friday, January the 9th. We are. The council ploughs won't come up our road until there's a thaw. It could be Easter before they arrive. Took the tractor to the pub. There were 11 tractors in the car park. Predictably, Cecil Potts brought his new big Ford. He would, wouldn't he? Charlie came on his Japanese trike. He was perished, blue. Couldn't throw a dart for over an hour. Doreen is in a desperate condition because the YFC dance has now been cancelled. And anyway, Melvin's old car isn't much use if there's dew on the lawn, never mind a blizzard. Gladys says Doreen and the lovelorn Melvin have blathered all night on the telephone. I'm considering installing a coin-operated kiosk in the passage. Sweep and the old Tomcat are lying together in the kitchen, best of pals. They know if they create a disturbance, they'll both be kicked outside, and it's a moderate night. So talking on the telephone, you can tell how old this book is. From the 80s. Kraskow, thank you for the treasure box. Are we enjoying it? Why is it entertaining? This is life, Clara. Life is entertaining. Or can be. Lucy. All right, where did we get up to? Saturday, January the 10th. There's a tax demand. Where did that come from? I thought you had to make something called a profit before you paid tax. And there's bills, hundreds of them. Right through Christmas, you can't get in touch with anybody. Offices closed, everybody out celebrating, all these bleeding answer phones left in charge. Then as soon as the world starts up again, the first thing they do is send out a load of statements for all the stuff you bought last year and had forgotten about. We'll have to sell some more lambs. Only 33 left. Well, 31 really. 2 of them are collector's items, i.e. they haven't grown since birth. They should have died long ago, lean as paper bags, but those little critters go on forever. It's just an embarrassing nuisance. There's some barley going out next week, and that should please Mr. Montague at the bank. Sunday, January 11th. Hog dead on the turnips. A good fit one, of course. Never one of those rubbishy, valueless creatures. I quickly decide to send the rest to the mart on Wednesday before any more expire. And the yows or eating hay at a hell of a rate. We could run out by March. Only once had to buy hay, and I remember it felt like burning fivers. Gladys has a cold, or she says, you know what women are like? Bit neurotic, always something wrong with them. It's the same with yours, isn't it? Willie sledging with his mates till after dark. They include little Tracy Williamson, who gets a lot of attention. I fear Willie might have discovered women. Did little 14-year-old girls look like that when I was a kid? Maybe, but they're certainly packaged differently now. A lot of snow has blown into the Hemel. It's a proper mucky mess in there. The bullocks look fed up, and they're blaring continuously. I think they're trying to tell me they need some bedding. Monday, January 12th. The council snowplough came past the road end mid-afternoon, and it took Willie and me, Willie's school is closed because of the weather, 2 hours to dig out the snow they'd pushed into our gateway. By then the wind had got up and threatened to block the road again. Gladys spends the day in bed. It's the second day she's had in bed since the war. I hope it's not becoming a habit. Willie and I had to get our own breakfast and dinner. No bother really, but Willie complained the bacon tended to shatter when approached by a fork. Well, I like it crispy. And the fried eggs looked like small pizzas. At dinner time, we had some cold beef left over from yesterday, with potatoes and tinned peas. Perhaps the spuds were a little underdone, and undoubtedly the peas would have been better heated up. Still laugh at this book, even though I've read it so many times. Willie said it was like eating yow pellets. He's spoiled. That's his trouble. Doreen cooked the supper, and I sneaked a fag in when everybody was away to bed. Tuesday, January 13th. Very cold, bright day. The countryside looks beautiful, but the house looks as if a crowd of hippies have camped in it for a year. The quicker Gladys recovers, the better. Maybe I should be nicer to her, or promise to look at some of those brochures. Anything to get her up. Bedded the bullocks with good barley straw. They went crackers for a while, then ate most of it. Galloped about for half an hour, playing games, then all lay down for their snooze. They looked a lot happier, eyes closed, cud chewing. I wonder what they think about grass, heifers, high-protein nuts, holidays. Wednesday, January 14th. Mart Day again. Brought the hogs in with Willie and Sweep and a struggle. Most of the snow has blown off the fields, but the gateways are full. However, they followed the tractor wheel marks all the way to the sheep pens. Me in front, boy and dog behind. Sweep behaved very badly, and we had problems loading. Had trouble at the mart as well. To my utter amazement, Gaddafi graded the 2 rubbishy crits and rejected all the rest. I'm coming to the conclusion I know nought about sheep anymore. What my old man would consider a decent finished lamb is too fat now. Those silly towny women only want skin and bone, if they buy meat at all. Anyway, the crits came to nearly 40 quid a piece, and the wholesale butcher from somewhere south of Darlington said he could do with 100 like that every week. I just sold the others as stores, and they were bought by Cecil Potts. What on earth he's doing with them is anybody's guess. Starve them, I suppose. I'll keep a lookout for them coming back to the grading, but I suspect he'll sell them somewhere else in case they lose money. That clever bugger never loses money. Know what I mean? Savvy, are you enjoying it? Are you all enjoying yourselves? How many people are here? 31 people. Welcome, everybody. Plus Purple App as well. I don't know. I don't think it'll still be in print, to be honest, because I think the publisher went a long time ago. He did he did cartoon stuff like this, and that he's like on the cover. So there was lots of like funny sketchbooks. Was mainly this came along later on when he did the diary. Thursday, January 15th. Gladys is much better, thank God. She seemed a bit disappointed at the state of the kitchen, but it wasn't that bad. Sweep was watching television on the sofa in the sitting room, and that upset her as well. Willie is away playing with Tracy Williamson. He seems to prefer her to driving the tractor now. It's funny how your tastes change as you grow older, isn't it? I can remember as a youth, I hated cabbage. Love it now. Willie hasn't got to that stage yet. Hi, Feather. Hi, everybody. Hi, Seeking. Take a sip. Am I getting drier? Nice, Andy. Nice. Enjoying it. Good. Are you understanding some of the phrasing? Because, I mean, this book is a slightly out of time. Jazz, thank you for the sub. Jazz, when I get to the end of the month, I'll do your balloon. Thank you, Sus. Can I go a bit slower? Okay, I will try. Friday, January 16th. Hard frost. Trough in the Hemel frozen. Cattle blaring for a drink. Having smashed the ice and drained the trough. Blaring for a drink, having smashed the ice and drained the trough. A kettle full of hot water does the trick. Trouble was, I forgot about the kettle and left it beside the trough when I went to put the hay into the hex. The cattle, desperate for a drink, crowded around and trampled the kettle to death. Gladys was not amused. Clara, thank you for the 250 bits. Can a mod, please? Keep a note of that. Balloon for Clara, balloon for Jazz. Okay. The roads are clear again. Willie should get back to school on Monday. Gladys went shopping. She reckoned that while she was in bed, we'd eaten everything out of the freezer and 100 weight of chocolate digestives. To the pub after supper. 3 old-timers were discussing the worst winter they'd ever known. Their stories of mountainous drifts got higher and higher as the beer went down and down. 1963 came into the reckoning, and 1947, of course, and another moderate year in the early 20s. They were tripping over telegraph wires, barely surviving on nought but turnip soup. Livestock buried out of sight, no light, no school, no food, no phone. No use on interrupting either. No sooner had one finished his tale of woe than another came up with a more outrageous story to beat it. From desperate winters, they progressed to other extremes: plague, tempest, gales, droughts, and finally money, or at least the lack of it. Somebody claimed he'd once sold 50 lambs for 50p a head, or 10 bob in real money. The next fella recalled taking sheep to some obscure market on a bad winter's day and finding nobody else had turned up. Just him and the auctioneer. The third bloke immediately remembered the time he'd walked 30 hogs to Carlisle, where they stood in the main street for a week. Nobody took any notice of them, he said. So what you do? Asked some gullible idiot. Well, we just left the buggers there and came home, said the lying old devil, without so much as a smile. Saturday, January 17th. Boadicea, Gladys's mother, comes and threatens to stay for a few days. We have a drunk bullock and a dead yow. There is no reason to suppose that these 3 events are in any way connected. The bullock was one of several who had got out of the Hemel overnight. One of them went straight to the hay shed and pulled a few bales out. But this one found a bag of barley meal and ate the lot. Robbie the vet came mid-morning and treated the intoxicated beast, but he's still very wobbly. The bullock, I mean, not the vet. The yow, well, she very cleverly found a suitable hole in which to lie upside down and no doubt delighted to discover she couldn't get up again and duly expired. Her life's ambition realised, I suppose. The sod. 3 fags today. Sunday, January 18th. A few flakes of snow this morning suggested mother-in-law should head for home before we're blocked in, but the snow had stopped by dinner time, and it was difficult to generate much panic when the sun came out. In fact, Mr. McCaskill is forecasting a thaw next week. All that means is more clots. Watched the farming programme. It was dead boring. All we got was a discussion between our 4 teenage bureaucrats from Brussels, all wind and waffle, rabbiting on about ESAs and clawbacks, restitutions, co-responsibility levies. I didn't understand a word of it. What I want to know is, how much will we get for the barley this year? Which reminds me, there's a load going out tomorrow. Yeah, if sheep get stuck on their back, they will die because they can't get up. That's that. That's what happens. Google, you're enjoying it. I'm glad you are. Monday, January 19th. Got up early to be organised, expecting first wagon at 8 o'clock. Of course, he came at 12 noon, just as I was sitting down to my dinner. I'm not very good with the grain bucket, but I had him loaded in less than an hour, which is very good for me, and was just sweeping up the mess when another wagon came in. The driver sat on his fat tail, eating his bait and smoking, while I shunted back and forward, ravenous, spilled a fair bit and bumped his wagon twice, but got him away in 45 minutes without serious damage. This is a record. The worry now is this. Will they find anything wrong with the grain? A few beetles in it perhaps, a dead rat, too much straw, dust, gravel, weeds, wheat, an old sandwich maybe. The trouble is, the price has dropped a $5 since we sold it, and you can bet your life they'll try to wiggle out of the contract if they can. If the price had gone up, I might have been disappointed, but there'd be a little worry about any rejections. However, no nasty phone calls by supper time. Relief, but slept badly. I was loading corn all night, and Gladys was snoring several decibels higher than usual. She denies this, of course, but how the hell does she know? She's unconscious. It was like a herd of newly spayed suckler cows in full cry. How nice. Honestly, listen hard and Google some words. Yeah, there's a few that's very regional as well. It is kind of set. It is set up north. Tuesday, January 20th. The alcoholic bullock is much better. That's the good news. The not so good news is that Boadicea, Gladys's mother, won't leave until the end of the week. I hate people staying. I'm obliged to be polite, eat properly, no rude noises after supper. The bathroom's permanently engaged. I can't be miserable whenever I feel like it. The whole thing is a violation of my airspace. The wagon came for the last load of barley when I was miles away feeding the cows. By the time I got back to the shed, the driver had done out, just sat in his cab drinking tea and listening to some gibbering disc jockey on Radio 1. He was only about 20, but still as fat as a pampered tup. Come to think of it, the disc jockey was probably even younger and fatter and a lot richer. Wednesday, January 21st. There are reports of rustling in the area. Charlie from next door came to borrow some diesel, had a cup of coffee and told us that his cousin Malcolm had found his entire farm in disarray yesterday morning. Livestock all over the place in an agitated state, and half a dozen hogs missing. The police suspect a gang of towny rustlers at work. Charlie and I are not convinced about this. I mean, can you really see a couple of wasters from Mafeking Gardens being successful at this sort of thing? There they are, a garage full of hot videos already, decided that a spot of sheep stealing, Clint Eastwood style, would be dead easy and a nice way to supplement the dole. So, with a bag of ewe and lamb nuts, and the inevitable lurcher, our heroes drive to their old transit out into the night in search of instant mutton. The simple peasants are all at kip, the countryside is still. The subtle plan is to tempt some unsuspecting sheep to the troughs and grab a few while they're feeding. It shouldn't be too difficult. However, little do they realise that their intended victims are the well-known ravenous mule yow variety, and before they realise it, our amateur rustlers are completely overwhelmed in the rush, buried in the clots, the food consumed in a trice, and the bewildered lurcher has fled. One bloke maybe makes a despairing grab at some lean, lame straggler, but all he's left with is a handful of wool as she splutters past. All right, so they feel they've got to steal something before they go home. How about some cattle? Well, just up the lane they come across a slumbering herd of suckler cows and calves, lying munching in the moonlight. Silently they climb the fence and creep in amongst the cattle. The cattle don't seem to notice. Nothing moves. "Here's a little black one," whispers one of the rustlers. "Let's grab it and get out of here." It takes this dozy calf about 2 seconds to wake up and realise that some fool has a hold of his tail, at which point the calf calls for his cross Galloway mother. Mother arrives at the speed of light, bellowing like a banshee and accompanied by all the other concerned mothers as well. The cowboys flee, who wouldn't, and the Galloway destroys the abandoned transit as the petrified lurcher tries desperately to hide in the glove compartment. Charlie and I conclude the rustling can only be successful if performed by professionals like ourselves. Hi, Ellie. How is everybody? Is everybody doing all right? Hi, Luna. This story is in dialect. It is. There's a lot of dialect and local words and that type of thing. Aurora says, "Talk slower." Okay. I'm trying to. Yeah, Scott understands it because he's northern. Hi, Pistachio. I mean, if you don't understand it all, you can all just sit and sleep, doze, nap, etc. Right, Thursday, January 22nd. Still no barley rejections. We should be okay by now, so I ring Northern Grain for the weights and add a rather pathetic plea for early payment. Consider sobbing into the phone, but the man hangs up before I can get started. I may buy the nitrum elsewhere. That'll be like nitrate to feed the fertilizer. Some farmers will never admit to being hard up, even with a rampant overdraft and unable to purchase a Mars bar except on credit. They'd still have you believe the living was easy. Others would plead poverty, even if their granny had left them a gold mine. Personally, I always claim to be destitute. That way, Gladys doesn't expect too much. She's still twittering on about the holiday, though. Friday, January the 23rd. A blizzard. Flakes the size of fag packets coming in from the barren wastes of County Durham. They're very wet, however, and they're not really lying. Just a very ordinary day. The yows are standing with their bums to the weather, looking miserable. Even the bullocks in the Hemel have gone into a huddle at the far end, out of the wind and wet. Got everything fed and went to Charlie's for coffee. He's not in. He's gone to Arthur Thompson's for coffee. So I have to listen to Hilda telling me how George has 7 O-levels and his sister Sheila has a brilliant job in a solicitor's office. How is that everybody else's kids are geniuses? Florrie, the old bat who comes in twice a week, Mondays and Fridays, to help Gladys, who has 6 children of her own, says it's all to do with the genitals of the parents. She could be right, of course, but I think she probably means genetics. Anyway, it's my fault. Boadicea goes home. Turned out to wave her goodbye and had a celebratory fag. Moss, are you stinky? Saturday, January 24th. The big tractor has a flat tyre. The other tractor has a flat battery. So I'm forced to carry feed to the ship. I'm forced to carry feed to the sheep on foot. After breakfast, set off with a wheel and a battery to Johnson's garage, and come face to face with the 7th Cavalry. They're meeting outside the pub. It's chaotic. Remember the 7th Cavalry is the nickname given to the hunt. Those of you that are British and you've seen fox hunting, and everybody in red jackets and on horseback and lots of hounds, that's the hunt. It's always the well-to-do people. They're meeting outside the pub. It's chaotic. The colonel is screaming at everything to get off the road. Little pot-bellied ponies are biting each other. Ladies with massive thighs and sprayed-on jodhpurs are laughing loudly under hard hats. The huntsman is bellowing at wayward hounds as they sniff about, peeing on everything. And all the time, the horses are dancing sideways like 4-legged Fred Astaire's. There's a real risk of having the side of the pickup kicked in as I crawl through among them. But I crouch low in the seat and keep going in second gear. When I got past, I just couldn't resist a good peep on the horn and looked back to see Colonel Nicholas on his demented gelding shoot off into the car park, 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds. Apparently the same horse can go from 60 to 0 in about 2 seconds as well. Old Nickers can't quite manage that, of course, and tends to carry on alone. One beast with a red ribbon on his tail kicked another horse in the belly, and 2 more jumped into Mrs. Simpson's garden from a standing start. But by then I was through and away. Lit up a cigarette from a packet I kept under the seat. Great. Don't fall asleep challenge. There's too much thinking to interpret it all to fall asleep. Sunday, January 25th. We have a lamb. It has just appeared as if from a magician's hat. Though of course I'm fully aware of where that it came from somewhere else. It is the smallest, runtiest thing I have ever seen. It is alive but completely alone. Nothing, nobody is willing to accept responsibility. Some yows give him an inquisitive inspection as if they weren't sure what it was. But none declare a proper maternal interest, and there's no telltale signs with which to identify the sneaky mother either. One of them must be the culprit, and I tell them straight, in no uncertain manner, that if she doesn't come forward and own up immediately, I'll beat her to death when I find her. This little speech, expletives deleted, given with great feeling and conviction, has no effect. There are no volunteers. I had just started to threaten the entire flock with a slow starvation when there was an unmistakable snigger behind me. Charlie was leaning on the gate listening to it all. Very, very embarrassing. He thinks I've flipped again. Monday, January 26th. The runty lamb still lives, though with little enthusiasm. He spent all day yesterday standing on a cardboard box by the kitchen fire, bleating miserably. Presumably, his complaint is that he expected a somewhat different lifestyle, and is confused to find his mother looks like Gladys. Be that as it may, she managed to get some colostrum into him, and although the pathetic creature just stands there shivering, all 4 feet on the same spot, back up, dribbling continuously into his soggy cardboard home, he might make it. His proper mother remains anonymous, but I swear I saw a 4-crop mule grinning this morning. Colostrum. It'll be some kind of, yeah. There you go. Feather nose. Are we doing good? Are we doing well? Are we okay? Are we all having fun? Are we all sleeping? People are translating on Twitch. Tuesday, January 27th. One Yao missing. Naturally, I assumed she died somewhere, but no. There she was in the far corner with a pair, both on their feet, bright as buttons, full as eggs. More lambs. Delighted though I am to find this happy family group, I am beginning to wonder where it will end. We're not supposed to start lambing until March 22nd. Gladys solves the problem. She reminds me that Charlie's tup got through the fence one day last October. We chased him back within 5 minutes, but obviously he didn't indulge in much foreplay. Golden booby milk. Oh my word. Wednesday, January 28th. What is that? User, thank you for the treasure. By the way, everybody that's been gifting, thank you so much. Wednesday, January 28th. Gladys crashed the car today. Actually, it's a miracle it hasn't happened before now, because she can't really see where she's going. It's not that she's blind, no. The problem is she's quite a short woman, and it's difficult for her to reach the clutch or the brake and look out of the windscreen at the same time. She tends to slide off the seat as she stretches down. Even with a cushion under her bottom, she still has to peer up through the spokes on the steering wheel at an angle. Consequently, although she can easily see low-flying phantom jet swooping in to attack, any poor sod on a bike quietly pedalling down the road is always at some risk. For years she's meandered into the village to do some shopping or take the kids to school, smiling sweetly through the wheel as she strains to see over the dashboard. She is always totally unaware of anything to the right or the left or behind, and figures those in front have an obligation to get out of the way. Gear changing obviously demands considerable effort, so she confines this exercise to top and reverse. All standing starts therefore demand maximum revs, full choke, and the clutch halfway out. This technique is also used at traffic lights and pedestrian crossings. People tend to cross very quickly when Gladys is poised there. Engine roaring, the car easing forward, apparently without a driver. Local ladies grab their children and drag them across. Others wait until she's gone. When she goes, she goes like like the wind. Only the good Lord and St. Christopher know how she hasn't caused a swathe of death and destruction throughout the neighbourhood. But she's never even had a minor bump until today. While everyone else ricochets from one insurance claim to another, little Gladys has just stuttered around the parish, grinning through the steering wheel, totally unmarked. But today, she hit Charlie's Japanese trike as he was going to feed some sheep. She would never see him, of course, but luckily Charlie saw her and bailed out into the ditch, followed soon by the Oriental trike. Nothing serious. The trike is a bit bent. Charlie is complaining about his bad leg. Our car has a broken light. Gladys is sitting in the kitchen drinking brandy and insisting Charlie should be breathalyzed and have his eyes tested. Henry Brewis is the author, if you're wondering. Sting, I am not reading 50 Shades of Grey. Dan, how you doing? Is Effie Taylor? I don't know. I think Effie was here somewhere. Stinger, how you doing? Anyways, Thursday, January 29th. The Yow and Pear are doing fine. The orphan runt is looking a little less peculiar now. The humpy back is coming down. His legs are gradually moving out to each corner, and he doesn't bleat all the time. He's a good sucker. In fact, he sucks everything. Chair legs, trouser legs, sweep, the cat, anything. He would undoubtedly empty a 40-gallon drum of milk if given the chance. All this intake goes straight to his elastic belly, and after each feed, he looks like a pregnant rat. Later, this intake is released, of course, so Gladys has moved him into a corner of the stable. Sweep, who also kips there, looks huffed. Perhaps, like me, he doesn't appreciate uninvited guests who fracture his privacy. You just hear Taylor's on TikTok, wondering where you were. I know, Stinger. I'm sure many people would rather me be reading a book like that than this. Okay, Friday, January the 30th. I half expect another birth every morning, but I think that's probably the finish of the early lambing. After all, twice in 5 minutes is pretty good going, especially if you just fought your way through a thorn hedge. Gladys didn't want to drive herself to the shopping today. She's still shaky after the bump, but I told her that Nigel Mansell would get straight back in again before he had time to consider what might have been. She says it's much easier for Nigel Mansell because in Formula One racing, it's very unusual to find someone else coming the other way on a trike. So Nigel Mansell was a famous British F1 driver back in the 80s. Just so you know. Anyway, she set off eventually, top gear, engine roaring, peering nervously out through the wheel, not grinning this time. Sweep stayed close to heel until she was out of the yard. Saw Jimmy Fletcher from Windhoff in the Swan, and 3 other blokes, a solicitor, an accountant, and a bank manager, are all off to Spain to play golf tomorrow. I think Jimmy's out of his depth with wealthy people like that. On the other hand, he's obviously been saving up for a long time. He hasn't bought a round of drinks since Newcastle won the Cup, which was 1969. Saturday, January 31st. Gladys reminds me that it's Willie's birthday today. She seems surprised when I ask how old he is and refuses to tell me. I think he's 15. No, he can't be. Can he? Let's see. He is, you know. He's 15 already. Ye gods. I think my memory's going. Actually, I've suspected for some time that I may be suffering from some form of premature senility. I blame it on the lifetime spent in the company of sheep. Anyway, I couldn't forget Willie, so I nipped down to the shop and bought him a ballpoint pen and a pocket calculator. He needs all the help he can get. When I got back, Gladys said that was typically mean and sent me out again for a new pair of wellies and a box of chocolates. She just spoiled the little devil. When I was his age... ... And that was January. We are a month in already. Okay. Senile before because of sheep. Yes, right. We have at least two balloons to do, haven't we? 2 balloons to do. 1 for Jazz. So we'll take a little breaky break. Hi, Martino. You love the... You just bought it, have you? Well done on finding it, Clara. I don't know who makes the money out of it, because sadly the author died. Where's me bag of... Me bag of clips. Pen. I've... What do you mean lazy? Jazz. Don't know if Jazz is still here, but Jazz, thank you so much for the balloon. Thank you for the sub. Oh, another blue one for Clara. I have clips, Clara. If you're meaning for... But these other books, some of them are like cartoon-style sketchy books. So it'll be like an amusing picture with a funny anecdote underneath. Like a funny one-liner. There's a lot of that. I can show you, Clara. But he did also do... there's one called Night Shift. Where is it on screen? I'm looking at the wrong camera. There's one called Night Shift, which is not really farm-based, but it's about... It's like on a... It's like a robbery. A countryside robbery. Shut her down. I could do that in it. I think I could do that on another one. I could do that. Right. Was there any other balloons? Well, just done your balloon jars. Come here. We'll go and do these right. Clara. Clara, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you. Did your balloon... Oh, yeah. But thank you, Jazz. I didn't know you were there or not. Pistachio, since I struggle to tie balloons, that's when balloons have clips. Pistachio, my fingers are too big to be able to tie balloon things. That yours deflates. There was one of Ben's. I've had to blow it 3 times and it's flat again, so I don't know what's going on with that one. Yes, Adrian. I didn't know they existed either, but they're not. They look like this. So you wrap it. You blow your balloon up and then and then thread it between the two of them. I'm so adorable, am I? That's very nice of you to say so. Gribsy, we're just getting going. We're just about to start month 2. It looks sharp. Yeah, it's probably has a bit scratchy. Hi, Amelia. Yes, we're just about to start the next section, Amelia. Just about to start the next month. So we're on to February. It isn't, Jake. It is not. Yes, Amelia, you haven't missed it. Gribsy, there's a thing scrolling across the screen. It's that book. It's one of my favourite books ever. Clots and Calamities, The Diary of a Peasant Farmer. Massive text going across the screen, which you did not read, did you, Gribsy? Knew it, and that's why I asked my mods, could you please be on TikTok so people who can't read or won't read the screen, please do that. Okay, let's get started on February. Sunday, February 1st. It's raining. It woke me up, belting on the window. Oh, hold on. TikTok thinks we're not here. I am here, TikTok. What are you on about? Honestly. Okay, let's start this again. Sunday, February 1st. It's raining. It woke me up, belting on the window. Most of the snow is gone. Lagoons everywhere. The yows are marooned on a rig top. The troughs floating around. The tractor makes a proper mess wherever it goes. Sweeper's in one of those awkward moods where he doesn't fancy getting his feet wet, tiptoeing about like a bloody poodle. Watch the farming programme and Mr. McCaskill's forecast. The fool's talking about spring already. Charlie and Hilda come for supper. The kids played pop music in the kitchen at 1,000,000 decibels. I swear the house was vibrating. Seems they can't live without that noise these days. Yeah, there's like an extra word that doesn't need to be. Even when Willie's doing his homework, the music has to be roaring. How can he think? Obviously, Sweep can't stand the racket either. We can hear him howling in the stable. I waff heavy. Night. Monday, February 2nd. NFU meeting in the village hall. That's the National Farmers Union, by the way. Some big wig from headquarters is speaking to we peasants. Our branch secretary has been trying to persuade everybody to go because there's a crisis in agriculture. So what's new? I went along, again my better judgment. I knew I'd be bored, and the hall is always freezing. The chairman spent about half an hour saying how delighted we were that Mr. Bigwig had come all this way to speak to us, and what a very distinguished bloke he was, and how privileged we were, and how eager everybody was to hear what he'd had to say. And then for the next 2 hours, this bleeding distinguished guest droned on and on about white papers, green pounds, and a black future. Turns out he had a farm in Lincolnshire, about 1,000 acres, which he saw on alternate Sundays, growing and breeding all kinds of exotic things like carrots and cauliflowers, as well as 1,000,000 pigs and 2,000,000 hens. I figured we didn't have a lot in common. He had a suit on for a start. I must have nodded off, because when Charlie nudged me, the man was inviting questions. Cecil asked one. He always does. But everybody else was sliding out to the pub. We just made it for last orders. Tuesday, February 3rd. One of the very lame yows has been trundling to the troughs on her knees for weeks now. She's quite easily caught, so I've been dressing her feet and spraying that smelly purple stuff on. She's not much better. Now it seems her knees have gone. I waited and waited for the arthritic old bitch to get to the feed, but I could see it would take all day. So I fed the rest and kept a bit back for her. You've guessed it. No sooner as I put a wee ration down on the ground in front of her nose, than the others left the troughs and galloped across. Both the cripple and I were knocked over and submerged. Perhaps I'm not giving them plenty. Smelly purple stuff, I know. Good times. Wednesday, February the 4th. Michael McMurdy, the auctioneer, rang up. Do you ever get the feeling that England's been invaded again by the Scots or the Irish? Percy Robson, who admitted has some rather right-wing views, reckons every trade union official is a Glaswegian communist and should be carted off to Siberia. And all the comedians, weather forecasters, and political correspondents are IRA spies, and they should be tied up in plastic bags and dumped in Galway Bay. Anyway, McMurdy says he's short of fat cattle this week, and could I send a few to the mart? There'll be a flyer, he says. I should have known. He ended up with about 30 more cattle than usual, and 3 fewer buyers. The 3 who did show up stood telling each other jokes all day and took turns at the bidding. I sold 2 bullocks and brought 2 home again. We'll call it a draw. Willie off to the YFC meeting at night. For years he hasn't been interested, and they were all a bunch of posers, whatever that means, and boring. That's the in word for anything he disagrees with. Now he's changing his mind, it seems. We hear Tracy has joined as well. So the YFC is the Young Farmers Club. Just so you know. Bye, Ellie. Thursday, February 5th. Telephone out of order. Willie can't phone Tracy. Doreen can't get in touch with Melvin. Gladys can't gossip to the masked blatherers of the WI. It's a crisis. But it could save me a small fortune. Friday, February 6th. All the pigeons in England are grazing the oilseed rape, stuffing themselves. They're like a flock of grey locusts. You can almost hear them munching. I got the old 12 bore out and fired a few volleys at the dense cloud, but nothing fell down. Put the banger next to the wood at the end of the field. It makes a bigger bang when it's under the trees. And set the clock for 30-second intervals. This means that teeth back in, Andy. If naught else, no. This means that the machine goes off like a Gatling gun. If naught else, it might give the pigeons a headache. In fact, the only hope is to persuade the sods to go somewhere more peaceful. Next door will do nicely. The British Telecom man came. I had a long talk with him, but he said he was obliged to mend it. Willie went to a disco at the rugby club, dressed like a Chicago gangster. Doreen and Melvin were going there too, but Doreen said she couldn't be responsible for bringing Willie home by 12, so I had to pick up the little waster. As I drove up towards the clubhouse, I saw him in the headlights, leaning over the fence being sick. My God, he's a teenage alcoholic as well. Take a drink. How we doing? Doing all right? Sunday, February 7th. The Hunt are on the rampage again. I think they met at Arthur Thompson's this morning. But by dinner time, they chased the same lame dog fox into the trees next to our rape field. There they were, quietly drawing the wood. Other ranks, taking the opportunity for a swift sip from their flasks, patiently waiting for those dumb dogs to pick up a scent, when the Gatling gun went berserk. All right, maybe I should have switched it off for the day, but I have to admit, the chaos was a joy to behold. That bird at Scarra can shift more than pigeons. Willie's off his food. Gladys thinks he's coming down with some bug or other. There's a lot of it about, she says. She was just on the point of giving him a dose of syrup of figs, her cure for everything from anthrax to a broken leg, when I told her he was emptied last night. Sunday, February 8th. Gladys went to church, perhaps to pray for Willie. I fed the livestock. It was one of those bright, crisp, clean winter mornings, when the countryside and everything in it looks sharp and healthy. There's a crunchy rind on the ground, a film of ice on the puddles, a filigree of frost on the branches, and breath hangs in the air, a joy to be alive. Apparently, the owl with arthritic knees didn't agree with this somewhat romantic view, and has expired. Monday, February 9th. It is half term. So Willie has a full week to recover. His mother suggested the poor thing had a day in bed, but I dragged the little wretch out when she went for the papers, and I made him bed the bollocks and feed Womble the Wonder Lamb. That's the motherless creature born on the turnips last month. The early arrivals are doing pretty well, though Womble is now virtually all belly. Chances are we'll feed him at great expense and considerable inconvenience until the grass comes. Then he'll explode in a cloud of milk substitute and protein pellets. That's if the postie doesn't run him over first. McCaskill is forecasting snow again. By the way, Ian McCaskill was a famous weather forecaster here in the UK. Back in these days. Back in the 80s. Back in the day. Tuesday, February the 10th. Cecil Potts, our local agricultural genius, has started lambing. He's one of those blokes who always has 200% crop and no bother. If he has had a dead yow, and he would admit to that, presumably he buries it himself in the dark. He generally buys and sells everything privately, so no one can argue when he claims his purchases were a stroke of entrepreneurial brilliance at rock bottom prices, or his sales cleverly timed to coincide with roaring trade. He considers Marts to be an anachronism, whatever that is, but what he really means is he doesn't dare go there and bid like anybody else in case he makes a fool of himself in public. If he's the sort of bloke the ministry rings up to get some guide on crop yields and the like, no wonder they're worried about surpluses. But then, as Charlie says, we know he doesn't fly every time he flaps his wings. It's not snowing yet. Womble. Wednesday, February the 11th. Took 6 bullocks to the mart. Canny trade. But which I really mean, I got about 10 quid a head more than I expected. Though I'm not all that sure what I expected. Charlie had a reject, so I felt pretty chirpy. Still no snow. I wonder if McCaskill knows what he's talking about. Gordon, who helps at the mart, and is the meteorological guru in these parts. He's an authority on behaviour of slugs, seaweed, hedgehogs, etc. Says it'll snow tonight for sure, because he saw a lot of snails creeping across the main road yesterday. It's a certain sign, he reckons. Are you jazz? Thursday, February the 12th. A soft, balmy morning. A slight drizzle. So much for Gordon's snails and the McCaskill computer. We have a massive bill for coal and Arga fuel, which inspires me to cut logs all afternoon with a chainsaw. I also managed to cut the toe end off my left welly. I blame Arthur Scargill. Okay, to explain that, Arga fuel is like a type of range heater / cooker in big farmhouses, and a welly is like a Wellington boot. And Arthur Scargill was in charge of the miners back in the 80s. Lots of old references there. Amelia, I'm on Purple app as well. Night deep below. How's the job search going? Welly boots, yeah. Friday, February 13th. Charlie came down for a lamb to set on. He had a yow who hanged a ruddy great single last night, and he offered to buy Womble. This was an astonishing gesture coming from Charlie, who, like me, comes from an era where spare lambs were given freely to needy neighbours. But now it's a mercenary world and everything has its price. I charged him a bottle of whiskey and was pleased to see the back of the little runt. The lamb, I mean, not Charlie. Whether I'll ever see the bottle of whiskey is another matter altogether. Saturday, February 14th, St. Valentine's Day. Gladys, in a silly mood, presents me with a card and a sloppy kiss at breakfast time, which is most disconcerting. Anything more demonstrative than a cough at this time of day is considered excessive in this house. To be given a Valentine, all hearts and roses, and a kiss, albeit on top of my head, was extremely worrying. Was she feeling guilty about something? Is she after a new frock? Or a 3-piece suite? Has she bought these things already? Anyway, I said nout, downed a cup of tea, and went to feed the bullocks. As I went out the door, she shouted, "You miserable old git!" And I felt a lot better after that. The postie came with a card for Doreen. From that drip Melvin, I expect, and 4 for Willie. That boy is going to be a problem. Sunday, February 15th. Willie is playing for the school against the Old Boys 15 today. That's a rugby match, by the way. A special annual match. He's pleased to be picked. Perhaps sport and a few cold showers will help to divert his sordid little mind. I went along to watch the game and was dismayed to find that the only other spectators were 4 nubile maidens dancing merrily up and down the touchline, dressed in miniskirts, black woolly tights, small sweaters, and large bobble hats, all screaming, "Get stuck in, Willie, kick him, Willie," and other demure suggestions. To be fair, Willie did his best to oblige them and was duly sent off early in the second half to rapturous applause from his fans. Monday, February 16th. Mr. Montague from the bank phoned and asked me to come in for a chat. Nothing serious, he says. Just a little discussion on what facilities you may require over the coming 12 months. Facilities is a banking euphemism for money. They never discuss money. I told him I was extremely busy for the next week or 2, but would phone back and arrange an appointment on a mutually acceptable date. A mutually acceptable date is my euphemism for the day I get the barley check paid in and a few more bullocks sold. It's snowing tonight, so Mr. McCaskill and Gordon were right after all, even it is a bit later than the snails, had anticipated. Are we all sleeping? Are we all chilling out? Tuesday, February 17th. Amelia, thank you so much.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
Amelia with the galaxy. Amelia, thank you so much. Amelia, your name goes up on the shirt behind. Oh, you can't see from. There's a shirt behind me. You can see it on Purple App. What colour would you like your name to go up on there as? Try not to. Don't worry about it, Amelia. Thank you so much. That was the only one I left sound on for. Infinite, welcome. Blue, I will. Right, that's 2 for Blue. I already did Golden Kitties from this afternoon.
Final frontier.
Amelia.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
Amelia, thank you so much for the second galaxy. Okay, that's 2 names on there. Amelia, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right, back to it. Where did we get up to? Oh, yes, that's where we got up to. Tuesday, February 17th. Woke up to a level 3 inches of snow. No wind, but very cold. Let's face it, this is a lot better than rain and clots. Nevertheless, all the soft townies south of Darlington are panic-stricken and bewildered by this amazing development, i.e. snow in February. According to the news, there are trains marooned on frozen points, yuppies sliding about on the M25, and jackknifed lorries blocking the M6. So the M25 is the road around London. The M6 is like the main road up the west of the UK. Teachers are sending the kids home from school after the coffee break. Offices and factories close. Buses cower in the depot. Newspapers never get beyond Watford, and the government get the blame. Meanwhile, in the real, rural world, simple peasants are defrosting winter troughs, feeding the ewes, bedding the cattle, mending the fence, shoveling muck, or whatever. It's just another Tuesday, and the winter ain't finished yet. The M62, the M62 was like Manchester that goes across the country. So the M6 is like, I think, does the M6 start at Birmingham and end at Carlisle? So like just short of Scotland. Bless you, Amelia. Bless you. I've been dying for Andy to do story time. We are doing story time. Wednesday, February 18th. Snow showers continue. Give the owls a bit extra food, which they consume in a flash. Sweep seems to enjoy the snow, sticks his nose in it and snorts happily. He's reluctant to sit though, and just hovers with his back legs bent and his bum an inch above the snow. He has a pained expression on his face until he's released from this position and free to run again. Took Doreen and Willie by tractor to catch the bus in the village. Willie protests that the school will be closed, but I know he's out of luck. Doreen insists the Polly won't need her today, but she goes too. And four bullocks go to the mart. Only 2 buyers turned up, but thankfully not many cattle turned up either, and we got a fair trade. You want a road map of the UK? It's Google Maps. Google Maps. You can have a good explore in there. Thursday, February 19th. Sitting having a cup of coffee when the phone rings. Fortunately, Gladys answers it because it's Montague again. I'll see if I can find him, she says in a posh voice, and then covers the receiver with a cushion while she tells me who it is. She's well trained in such procedures. I'm sorry, Mr. Montague. He must be away on the tractor somewhere, she says. I'm sitting like a statue. Can I take a message? Right, Mr. Montague, I'll tell him. I feel a sneeze coming on. He should be back by dinner time. Yes, it's a busy time of year. I creep into the passage and explode. No, Mr. Montague, it's just the dog barking. Thank you very much then. Bye. Phone grain merchant immediately to hurry the grain check. Of course the boss is on holiday in the Bahamas, but his secretary promises it'll be in the post by tonight. She sounds almost as convincing as Gladys. I think she's Arthur Thompson's daughter. I'll have to have a word with him. Jessica, it's on the screen. I feel a sneeze coming. No, it's part of the book, Amelia. Part of the book. It's on the screen, Amelia, but it's this book here. It's a book from long ago. Don't worry about it, Jessica. Just don't worry about it. Okay. Friday, February 20th. To the pub with Charlie and other peasants. There's a darts match with the plough that gets rather noisy. They have an McEnroe-type player who hurls abuse every time he hurls a wayward dart. There's talk of him being barred for the rest of the season, but this suggestion only seems to make him worse. Until Elsie refuses to serve him. That cools him down. Charlie, myself, Percy, and Arthur have an in-depth discussion on the current state of the world in general, and farming in particular. Percy, who has a very simplistic view of life, reckons everything's on the brink of disaster, and the only solution is the immediate reintroduction of hanging, especially for terrorists, rapists, murderers, and solicitors. He's in the middle of a long legal battle after backing his John Deere into the postman's van. It's a type of tractor, I'm sure. Sure you all know John Deere is a type of tractor. The rest of us, joining into the spirit of the thing, add rustlers, VAT and safety inspectors, government graders, and several reps to the list of doomed men who must be sacrificed for the sake of civilization. Come the peasants' revolution. Farming, we conclude, is a knacker job, and only congenital idiots would pursue such a career. The congenital idiots, having by now consumed 6 pints apiece, disband happily at 11:30 p.m. What is this book? What? I think everyone knows. It was published in 1988, so you can imagine that there's a lot of stuff. Obviously, the world has changed quite a lot since the 80s. So, Saturday, February the 21st. A fair amount of snow is gone. The brig tops are bare, and the 7th Cavalry is out again. We forgot about them when we compiled our revolutionary death list last night. Fortunately, they just trot through towards Charlie's place, smiling their mornings as they go. They appear to be in good form. I can hear a lot of supers and splendids, and even a few absolutely supers and splendids. And I'm reminded of the light brigade cantering carelessly towards the Russian guns. Unfortunately, this brigade will return more or less intact, but I may have a word with the colonel and ask him to stay clear of my pregnant yows from now on. There'll be enough problems with his happy band stirring them up. Willie went to a YFC disco with Tracy. Apparently, he is forgiven for being sick at the rugby club, and romance blooms again. Melvin and Doreen will be there too, so I asked daughter to keep an eye on Wayward Son. She says this could spoil a night. I go to pick him up at midnight. He's not there. Nobody has seen him or Tracy for over an hour. I'm sitting in the car park, quietly fuming, tired and cold, having a sneaky cigarette, when I'm aware of movement in the next vehicle. A steamy window is lowered, and there's Willie with a can of lager in one hand and a piece of Tracy in the other. Ye gods, he's only 15 and he's already on par with Rasputin. Just get to sleep when Melvin brings Doreen home and wakes me up. Gladys is making hippopotamus noises. Being a peasant parent is not easy. Sunday, February 22nd. Gale force winds. I don't like winds. Every job is harder in the wind. Maybe sometimes it's useful for drying up clots, but generally it just chews and toozles you. Blows the heads off the barley, blows straw all over the place, brings down trees which take half the fence with them. Windy days are generally angry, bad-tempered days. Today it was the empty plastic bags that were on the move, and several had found their way into the Hemel. The bullocks were having a grand time chasing them as they flew about like demented kites. You have to be fond of cattle. Unlike sheep, they have a sense of humour, no matter what age they are. Perhaps you could argue that healthy lambs can enjoy themselves, playing chasey up and down the dike back. However, as soon as they grow up, they tend to become dull and boring, and set in their ways. But cattle are inquisitive, actually display a degree of enjoyment, and they're capable of simple jokes. And what's more, they generally have livability. A sick beast can be cured. You've got a chance. He'll generally respond. Sheep aren't half so enthusiastic about life. Perhaps they're deeply religious or eager to be in a better pasture elsewhere. Or perhaps they're just bloody awkward. It's an old book using, yeah. What do you mean, a piece of Tracy? Amelia. A piece. Look, I'm sure you've seen Titanic. And the scene where Jack and Rose go to the car in the depths of the storage area, and after they do whatever they do, there's like a sweaty handprint appears on the window. I think they were doing that. And we were a year old. You found a map. Oh, it's all right, Amelia. It's all right. Yeah, use context clues. Yes. Monday, February 23rd. The ewes look quite well, by our standards anyway. Everything's relative. It's the wind that does it, of course. Fluffs up the fleece up and out, makes them appear fitter than they really are. Good hogs on the turnip break can look fantastic on a dry, windy day, full and yellow. Had a good check on the feed supplies. The hay shed is getting low. Must keep selling cattle. Plenty barley left, I think, and the check has arrived. I'll almost be almost flush for a while, all the corn payments in, and still a few bullocks to sell. When the miserable voice of common sense tells me that I'll have it all spent in a week or two, more store cattle to buy, seed, fertiliser, spray, concentrates, not to mention the usual phone bills, electricity, coal, repairs, and a few other items that I'll have forgotten about. Bills that come and grab you just when you're feeling pleased with yourself. Which reminds me, Montague phoned again. No problem, says I. How about Friday morning? Shall we say 11 o'clock? See you then. Bye. Rushed to the bank and paid in the barley cheque. Tuesday, February 24th. Gladys is out tonight. A WI trip to see Mikado. The Mikado. WI is Women's Institute, by the way. It's like a club for women. Willie thought it must be some ageing pop group. It's Gilbert and Sullivan, says I. Were they before Lennon and McCartney, he asks. I fear there's little hope for the ignorant youth. What on earth do they teach them at school these days? His writing is terrible, resembles the work of some Aborigine cave artist. Reading, I've never actually seen him reading anything other than the TV Times. It's like the guide for what's on TV. Arithmetic, well, at least I know he can count the ewes if they stand very still, and most of our ewes can do that. Wednesday, February 25th. 6 bullocks to the mart, all graded, canny trade. Arthur Thompson had a right wild thing there. I don't think it was properly castrated. A real bully head on him. Anyway, it came roaring out of the wagon before the tailboard hit the ground and galloped up and down the alleyways for most of the morning. By the time Gordon and his gang had him penned, he was guffed, but still looking in a proper bad fettle. Nobody fancied handling him, and he was graded from a distance. In fact, he was lucky to be graded at all. By the time it was his turn to be sold, he'd got a second wind and went crazy again. Seemed determined to destroy the weighbridge, and they had to give him an estimated weight, because the needle on the dial wouldn't stand still long enough. Then they opened the doors, and in he came like a Spanish toro. The ring cleared like snow in a fresh. Right. Gordon, who's nearly 70, was over the rail in one leap. 2 over-fat butchers, who normally just waddle about like performing seals, took off like Peter Pan and Wendy, and settled in the auctioneer's box. Michael McMurdy had the beast knocked down to one of them after its first circuit, in spite of Arthur's protestations. But Arthur was in the back row of the gallery with the rest of us by then. Some brave soul opened the gate, and El Toro was out, still snorting and looking for something to thump. We all moved cautiously back down to the ringside. The sale continued. That was a complex read. I was all over the place. Thursday, February 26th. A wet night. Snow disappearing, but still a bit left along the hedges. Gordon reckons it'll be there for a while yet, because it's waiting for some more. I assume he must have seen a couple of rabbits dancing in an old-fashioned waltz, or something prophetic like that. Be that as it may be, Be that as it may be. Yeah, be that as it may be. The yows are in a mess. Troughs in a sea of clarts. I spend the day converting the grain store and the empty part of the hay shed into a maternity ward. It won't be long now. Friday, February 27th. The big day. Montague awaits. Got to the bank quarter of an hour early, which was a mistake because he still had another victim in his office. And I had to wait about like a hat stand, looking nervous and conspicuous. It was obviously why I was there. I read the exchange rate, 196 pesetas to the pound. I read how easy it was to get a loan if you were a destitute student. I read how to apply for a credit card, a cash point card, a home loan, a car loan, a bleeding holiday loan, and they were positively desperate to lend everybody some money. So what was I worried about? Montague emerged at 11:05, preceded by a flushed Cecil Potts, who scurried out into the street like a scalded cat. So, thinks I, even the big lads have their problems here, and maybe their problems are bigger. Actually, the interview went pretty well, really. He called for 2 coffees and my dossier. We went through what he called assets and liabilities. He listed the yows as assets, though that's a matter of opinion. And the bullocks, what were they worth? He wanted to know. I gave him the price I got for the best, and I didn't mention the little pot-bellied thing with ringworm. Any grain left? Oh yes, says I, and gave him a tonnage that would have fed Ethiopia for a week. Hay, straw, machinery, he asked, moving down the page, and I gave him a comprehensive list of all our antiquated gear, making it sound as interesting as possible. I included everything, even the old Acrobat and the zigzag barrows, currently blocking a hole in the hedge. He offered a figure to cover the lot that left me breathless, which he apparently took to be a surprised reaction of gross undervaluation, because he immediately added a bit more. Well, says I, recovering my composure, that seems fair enough. We moved on to liabilities, and I forgot to tell him that I hadn't paid for the load of nitrum, included as an asset earlier on. It seemed unnecessary to worry him with the water rates and the few other outstanding problems. By the time I left, at 11:45, he seemed happy enough with my story, and when he suggested the all-important upper overdraft limit, I nearly tore his arm off. Had a celebration drink with Charlie and company in the Swan, but said nought about Cecil. Hi, Clara. What time is it? 10 to, right, okay. Saturday, February 28th. Willie playing rugby again, so dropped in to watch the second half. No groupies this time, only Tracy, and she was chatting up the lad running the line. Willie scored a try, one of those quick ferrety tries that scrum halves sometimes score. But he got clobbered by the whole pack within 10 minutes to go, and had to be helped off, apparently suffering from concussion. When I went over to see if he was hurt, I must admit I was a wee bit worried. He had a glazed expression and was groaning quite a lot, perhaps a bit too much. Anyway, I ran off to get a coat from the car to wrap him up, and when I came back, the little bugger was beating the daylights out of the touch judge, the one Tracy had been flirting with. The boy's impossible. Nice February. Nice February. Are we still enjoying this? Are you all falling asleep? Deep blow, yeah. Good luck with the job search. Good luck with all that. Still alive. You're nearly asleep, Lucy, are you? Time is flying, like really. It is. Bree, have you done your work for the day? Should we do a little bit of march to get us to 9 o'clock, and then wrap it up? Soothing. Look like I'm sleeping. I always like that. Okay, let's do a little bit of March. Sunday, March 1st. A fairly lazy Sunday. Gladys resurrects the holiday issue, even switches Harry Seacombe off, and insists on a proper debate, with her as chairman, of course. Sorry, chairperson. There you are, see. Even I'm influenced by this woman's lib rubbish. It's destroying decent marital relations. My father would never have stood for a proper debate, and mother never complained. They never had a holiday in 50 years. I should never have told Gladys about the successful interview at the bank. I'm slipping. Should have told her we were on the brink of ruination as usual, instead of shooting my mouth off. Serves me right. Amelia, thank you for the heart, me. She has it all worked out. It's a week in Corfu, the Hotel Gigantos. Fly there, no bother, only £250 each. Half board. It could be terminal. I won't be able to sleep. It'll be too hot. The mosquitoes are eating me already. The moussaka is at war with the swordfish. A Dago policeman has thrown me in jail for ogling topless nymphets on the beach, and a plane has crashed on the wastelands beyond Towelaw, and I'm the only survivor. Gladys snores all night with a smile on her face. Monday, March 2nd. Fertilizer arrives mid-morning. The driver sits in his cab and reads The Sun. It's surprising how long it takes him to read The Sun, while I nervously remove the pallets with the forklift. The thing is, back in the 80s, The Sun had page 3 still, so that's probably why he was looking at it for so long. There's no doubt about it. I'm a dog and stick man, really. Anything more mechanically complicated than a hammer, and I'm ill at ease. There are so many knobs and handles on this machine, I might as well be driving a moon rocket. And I do well, I reckon, to smash only 2 pallets and hurl a mere 7 bags. My relief when it's all over is immense. This total lack of sympathy and understanding with anything made of nuts and bolts must be hereditary. My father was the same. Couldn't replace a broom shank, let alone a spark plug. If a tractor conked out, he'd just climb down, look at it with disgust, swear, kick it, then limp home to phone for a mechanic. He always wore wellies, so his toes were in an awful state. Said he had foot rot, but it wasn't. We knew it was from kicking dead Fordsons. Annie, thank you for me. How are you doing? Tuesday, March 3rd. Get the owls in and give them their pre-lambing booster injection. They seem to be in an agitated mood, but maybe it's just my fettle. One jumps out of the pen like an antelope, assume she must be a geld. Another stands by herself, coughing, assuming she's preparing to die, and a third has developed mastitis. I assume she'll have triplets. Too many words that make me stammer in this book. Got the job finished by 12 without seriously injuring any sheep or myself or kicking the dog. I can remember when we gave the ewes nought but food and water, but that was yesterday, when everybody had the proper number of sheep. What was it my father used to say? You can increase your sheep numbers as much as you like, but they'll eventually just die back to what the land can carry. Gladys made pancakes at dinner time. I love them rolled up, full of lemon juice, butter and sugar. I ate 5 before she got a couple for herself. In the afternoon, I took a walk around the whole estate to see if I can travel on land yet. See if we can travel on the land yet. The winter corn will be to top dress and spray, and there's some spring barley to sow, and then the Swedes, of course. The winter barley looks not so bad. There's one patchy field where we had to plunge in and it's still soggy. Maybe a kick in the roots with nitrogen will encourage it and turn the yellow to green. The ploughed land is drying slowly, but won't cultivate yet. We need a few breezy days. The turnip field might plough, but it would probably be better to leave it, then plough, work, and sow all in one go. I enjoy the walk, birds twittering, crows carrying building materials to the rookery. No, that can't be right. What do they say? If you see a rook flying by himself, he's a crow, and if you see a flock of crows on the wing, they'll be rooks. Anyway, spring is in the air, I think. Wednesday, March 4th, Ash Wednesday. Today, the sleet is blowing horizontally straight from Siberia. Sometimes I think Mother Nature is the head of some terrorist organisation dedicated to the disruption of farming life. She can certainly be a moody bitch. If it was Father Nature, things would be much more stable and predictable. Which reminds me, Doreen is in despair. Apparently, she and Melvin had a falling out. Gladys is very sympathetic, blathering on about lovers' tiffs. Personally, I thought Melvin was a twit. He smiles too much, it's not normal. Anyway, Doreen is going about like a gimmer with staggers, head down, just lying about. Neither use nor ornament. Gladys says she'll get over it. It's just part of growing up. Why is Gladys so reasonable with everybody else and not with me? Native, thank you very much. Good night, Cora. Sheep are often preparing to die, they are. Thursday, March 5th. The farm is awash. That soggy barley field is a lake, with waterfowl floating merrily on it. The ewes look miserable, the tups in the croft look miserable, even the bullocks in the hemmel look miserable, and of course Doreen looks miserable. Thank God she's away all day. Furthermore, the entire village is miserable, because I forgot to turn the banger off and it boomed all night. Everybody, it seems, has been on the phone this morning, some of them not at all polite. And sure enough, when I went for the papers, Mrs. Simpson looked decidedly bleary. But then, rumour has it, she leads a very nocturnal life anyway, so it might not have been my banger that kept her awake. Finished preparing the maternity ward. Lamb liftoff is 17 days and counting. Went to the vets and topped up with medical supplies and bought a new spade. Good night, Lucy. Sleep well. Friday, March 6th. To the Swan at 8:30 p.m. Reports are coming in that Cecil Potts is having a moderate lambing. A lot of watery mouth and staggers. He wouldn't admit to anything less than a triumph, of course. But Jake the postman has seen the pile of ex-lambs and at least 3 late yows behind the hayshed. He reckons he even heard Cecil sobbing pitifully in the byre, but that might be what Florrie calls pathetic license. We also discussed quietly the sex life of the widow Simpson. Charlie reckons there's a different car parked outside her house every night. He'd even seen Davy Scott's car there, but Davy just smiled. We drew our own conclusions. He's a bit of a lad, is Davy. He's one of those canny, doe-eyed, sleepy blokes that women seem to fancy. They maybe want to mother him, but I suspect Davy's after more than hot cocoa and a cuddle. Infinite, I also stream on Purple app. Saturday, March 7th. There's a howling gale. The lake is receding, the wildfowl have migrated, and the owls look marginally less miserable. Infinite, thank you for the follow. Willie played rugby against what he called some Ponzi school in the city. The bus picked him up at 11 o'clock.
That's absolutely lovely, that, isn't it?
I'll just let that play.
He's put an egg on it.
910 followers.
Oh.
Nice. Where are we up to? Willie played rugby against what he called some Ponzi school in the city. The bus picked him up at 11 o'clock. He came back 12 hours later with a limp, a dislocated finger, and a fat eye. Gladys and I were watching Match of the Day when we heard him singing songs in the kitchen. We noted that his vocabulary had been enlarged as well as his eye. With language like that, he could end up as a hill shepherd. Sunday, March 8th. Woke up to find a bullock at the front door. His mates have cultivated the lawn, it looks like the Somme, and then gone elsewhere. How the hell did they get out? I tried to tie the gate. I tied the gate with barbed wire after the last escape. Then when they ended up in the churchyard. This time, the rising muck had apparently helped them to ease the gate off the crooks. Fortunately, they hadn't gone far. We found them a mile up the road from where they had a Volvo estate surrounded. They were licking the windows while two petrified little deers with a border terrier, yapping bravely, cowered inside. No damage to the car, just a slavery mess. We got the animals back home easily enough. Willie in front making a noise like a bag of high-protein nuts. Sweep and me behind, having a sneaky cigarette. Me, that is, not Sweep. Right. I think we'll go to the 15th of March and then we'll end for the night. Seuss, how's the painting going? Seuss? Are you using this to paint with, Seuss? Monday, March 9th. Tried to repair the garden with a grape and a barrow load of soil, and took a load of muck out of the Hemel gateway. It's windy again. Things are drying up. Cecil Potts has started top-dressing winter corn. Charlie says he's making a right mess. Wheel marks up and down the field, but it's still disturbing to see somebody else getting on with spring work before you. Charlie and I spent 10 minutes on the phone convincing ourselves it's far too early. The land was still wet, and finally agreed that Cecil didn't know what he was doing. After dark, I got the fertiliser spinner hitched on the tractor. Robinsons. Yes, Jazz, I am drinking Robinsons. Tuesday, March 10th. Charlie, the swine, is top-dressing winter barley. He says it's dry as a bone, not a mark, perfect. I take another walk over our barley and lose a welly, sucked off into a wet hole. Cecil is cultivating land. Wednesday, March 11th. 6 bullocks to the mart, there's nobody there. They're all putting fertiliser on, or working land. I get a canny trade, but still don't feel happy. Have a quick sandwich in the canteen. Forget to give any luck money and hurry home to look at the barley field again. Are they all mad, or have I got the wettest farm in England? At dusk, I can hear the tractors howling all around. Everybody is working except me. I can't stand it. Go to the pub. I never go to the pub on a Wednesday. It's empty, except for Mrs. Simpson, an amorous insurance salesman. Thursday, March 12th. It's too much. Cecil has a corn drill in the field. I can see it from my Hemel roof. Charlie is roaring up and down spinning nitrogen. Even Sleepy Davy Scott, who is always way behind everybody else, makes hay in September, combining at Christmas. Even he has his old set of discs rattling along. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing, and I feel terrible. My guts are rumbling. It's nerves, you know. Take another walk over the barley field and the ploughing. There's just a bit of white soil on the furrow tops now, and I keep the wellies on this time. At tea time, Gladys comes back from the supermarket and asks why I'm now not out on the tractor. Everybody else is, she says. I consider killing her, but go for another walk instead. Doreen comes back from the poly and asks why I'm not out on the tractor. Everybody else seems to be, she says. I preferred her when she was miserable and silent. Willie comes in from a rugby training session and says half the squad were missing because all the farmers' sons were helping their dads sow corn. After supper, I load the trailer with fertilizer. Friday, March 13th. It's raining. Somebody up there doesn't like me. We have a field of wheat showing signs of slug damage. It's thin in places, but it should be okay, I think. Old Fenwick Forster used to reckon that if you were worried about a poor crop of winter wheat, you should sit on the gate and throw your hat into the field. If the hat landed on a plant, then there was plenty there for a decent crop. If it doesn't sound very scientific, but Fenwick never took much harm. I began top dressing mid-afternoon with double wheels on. Anybody who tells me they aren't making a mark on the fields are either liars or they're using a helicopter. To the pub after supper, a little happier, until Charlie says he'll be sowing corn tomorrow, and Davy announces he's got 20 acres in already. Me every day with co-workers. Nice, Wheeler. Nice. Sunday, March 14th. Finished top dressing the winter barley by night time. About 2 bags to the acre. Don't ask me how many kilos that might be to the hectare. That's EEC language. Europe language, in other words. All I know is it's nearly 70 units. The same again, maybe a bit more if everybody else does, will go on in a month's time. Cecil Potts puts 200 units on, sprays everything 7 times with complicated cocktails, and always ends up with 4 tons to the acre, or so he says. Maybe he needs it. Gordon is working land for me. It's not too bad. We'll go through it once and leave it for a couple of days. Charlie has a corn drill going. Maybe we won't leave it for a couple of days. Phone Roger the contractor and book his seed drill. He says he'll come over when he's finished at Charlie's, probably at tea time tomorrow. There'll be no lazy Sunday this week. Doreen is out with a new mystery boyfriend. I think top dressing is just kind of kind of sorting out the top surface. You don't really put anything else on it. Sunday, March the 15th. I have the trailer loaded with seed and fertilizer before dawn. Hurriedly feed the livestock. One yow has lambed twins and another is showing the familiar signs of impending motherhood. They would, wouldn't they? They're not due for another week yet. Dragged a bewildered Willie out of bed, poured some tea down his throat, and stuck him on the tractor to cultivate. He went off like a drunk duck, wandering all over the place, but by 9 o'clock he'd woken up, found Radio 1 and the heater, and was under control, more or less. Back to the house. The twins are up and sucking, but the other one seems to have changed her mind. Nothing. Carry the twins home to the hay shed. Food and water for the yow. Check on Willie, who is now pretending to be Nelson Piquet, another Formula One driver. The revs in the radio are at maximum levels. The cultivator is in full flight, strutting along behind him. The whole combination is in a cloud of black smoke and will undoubtedly disintegrate if I don't reach him in a matter of seconds. I have several cardiacs while running across the ploughed field to give him a breathless bollocking. I need a cigarette, but have to wait until I'm back with the yows before I dare light up. She's had triplets, one the size of an undernourished hamster. He has no chance. Take him back to the maternal care of Gladys, who christens him Womble too, and asks if all the lambs are likely to be this big. I relieve Willie, who is now bored to death in 3rd gear, and have the field ready to sow by tea time. But there's no corn drill in sight. Charlie's wife Hilda phones with the message that there's been a breakdown, and Roger won't get to our place till tomorrow. Okay, we'll just carry on a little bit more. Adrian, you're going to sort out. Yeah, get on here on stream, Adrian. We'll be across. Monday, March 16th. It's chucking it down. The cultivated field is like porridge, and I'm a very unhappy peasant. My disposition is not improved when I discover one of the twins, which in fact began life as a triplet, is now a single, his brother having apparently been used as a mattress by his mother. Mother appears to be less than distraught at this tragedy, so I give her a bloody good hammering and break my stick. Womble too is reintroduced to Mother, who fails to recognise the wretched thing. She will have to be persuaded, and is tied up in the byre, surrounded by hurdles, given another hammering, and the perplexed Womble shoved in for a suck. He has no idea. This could be a long, painful exercise for all of us. Gladys informed me that Doreen's new bloke is none other than the son and heir of Cecil Potts the genius. That's all we need. Still here. Right, I'll do a few more. Tuesday, March 17th. She's gone and sat on her other lamb. Now all she's got left is Womble, and she isn't very chuffed with him. So, what we've got is a great big super fit mule yow with enough milk for Elizabeth Taylor to have a bath in, supporting one little rat who hasn't discovered where the tits are. And it's still raining. Fetch the rest of the yows to the backfield in case any more decide to entertain us. Wednesday, March 18th. Took the last of the fat bullocks to the mart. 10 others left, including the pot-bellied ringworm thing and the alcoholic one. They'll get fat off the grass. It's a good trade, a flyer in fact, but the canteen chat was depressing because most of the other blokes had managed to get at least one field of spring corn sown. Charlie had been caught by the rain and the breakdown and still had about 3 acres of butts to sow. Son of Cecil phoned at night to talk to Doreen. He's called, wait for it, he's called Wayne. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it fell about. Doreen said I was a Philistine, whatever that is, and then talked to him for an hour and a half. Thank God he phoned her. Cecil will get the bill. Wayne. Thursday, March 19th. It's still raining. Well, drizzling. I think Womble has found a tit at last. He's as full as a little fat rat can be this morning. But we'll leave Mother tied up for another day to make sure. The rest of the flock seem ominously quiet. Is this the lull before Armageddon? Right, we'll end it after this one. Friday, March 20th, sorry. Fair, just. One of those dull grey days. A growing day. A lambing day, perhaps, but no, nothing emerges. Took Willie to YFC dance and went on to the Swan, where a heated discussion ranged from Mrs. Simpson's interesting love life to the common market cash crisis. Percy reckons the nation's morals have gone to the dogs and we should bring back the birch. I'm not sure if this has anything to do with Mrs. Simpson's behaviour or not, but by all reports, she'd probably quite enjoy it. Percy also feels that the common market should be scrapped, and the man who was Minister for Agriculture after the war, Williams, should be reinstated immediately. Somebody pointed out that the bloke was sadly long dead, but Percy reckoned he would still do a better job than those froggy fairies in Brussels, who should all be put in plastic bags and thrown into the Rhine. I left to pick Willie up at 11:45. No sign of Willie outside. And to my surprise, he was actually dancing. It was quite embarrassing. There's little doubt that if he and Tracy had been performing whatever it was they were performing, horizontally instead of vertically, they would have been arrested and birched by Percy. The boy has no shame. Okay, we'll leave it there. And we're up to March 20th. If we ever return to this, dear, we're all doing. What a way to live. This is how I grew up. Well, with less fun, obviously. Please return. I love the sheep book. Nice. Nori, Shanine. Shanine, have you been here the entire time? That's dedication. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for listening to me drone on about farming and stuff. Well, not me, but, reading about. But thank you for being here, everybody. I very, very much appreciate it. Not droning on. Return to this. I will do, Adrian. I will do this. I will do that. For the next few weeks, should we have like a dedicated stream for read? This was your favorite book. Lots of heifers, bullocks, and good suckers. Yes. It's been lovely. You would hear this again. Oh, bless you. Bless you all. The most exciting thing that's happened to you all day, Amelia. An evening one. Yeah, it would be an evening one, Brie. Because obviously, I don't know. I'm thinking Friday night's probably not a good night for it. We'll see. Well, I'll look at the schedule. I'll work something out. But everybody, thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you for being here. Very much appreciated. Be interesting to see how many people have had through. 64,000 likes though. And hold on, I was going to say 2.5k coins, but yeah, there was Amelia. Amelia's two galaxies. Amelia, that was very, very kind of you. Very generous. Thank you, Shanine. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Bye, Adrienne. Well, I'll see you in a second, Adrienne. Amelia, a money gun. Amelia, that means you get a balloon. Oh, you have a balloon blown up. A balloon for Amelia. Right. If you don't, for good measure. Amelia, that's fantastic. So, because it's birthday week, so on TikTok, I would have it as a graphic on the screen. However, TikTok don't like you doing that. So anybody that gives a money gun on TikTok gets a balloon. Well, I'm saying they don't get a balloon. I blow up a balloon and I will write your name on it. That is what it is. Where's me pen? I can't believe that. I end up choking. Amelia. Amelia. Where's my camera? There it is. Amelia, thank you so much for the money gun. I will add you to the massive pile of balloons that are in my office. And my finger's still sore. Yeah, actually, a couple of times I've caught the back of that thing. Where's my camera? That thing. Sorry, caught the back of that finger, and it's like, that still nips. So, but I have these clip things, so you can just wrap them around there, and then much easier. It's a lot of course, stuffies. Of course it is. Yes, very, very helpful. Aurora found them for us, so makes things a lot easier. I must say. Hi, Ben. Look at there. Scott, thank you for the money gun as well. Scott gets a balloon. I didn't see that one flash up. Was I not? Was I not looking? Scott, thank you so much for the balloon. You missed. Sorry, you did, Ben. You did. Well, after stream, you can watch the VOD on Purple App back. Scott, thank you so much. Actually, I say that, but my VODs are like sub only. Oh well. Let's start again. I will download the VOD and put it on YouTube. But I'll keep it unpublished because it does have copyright material in it. So I think hand tighten above way. Really? Yo, Craig is like Superman though. Scott. Scott. Your balloon. There we are. Scott, thank you so much for the money gun. God, them balloons are 3 deep now, and are leaking out of the office. Scott, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for the support. Really appreciate it. Really, really do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is what you said. You got the Brie. Was it too close up on TikTok? Was I just a bit too in your face? Right. Just another year on the calendar. Well, see, I'm getting closer to a big number. So this like this upcoming birthday is the last one over the decade, and then the next year's is like, holy crap. The wives could have taken turns kissing me on the cheek. I'd have been very, very happy with that. Birthday spankings. Since when spanking's a birthday thing? See you soon, Scott. Scott, again, thank you for the generosity. Thank you. Next year I'm 30, of course. Yes, Amelia. I am 30 next year. One spank for each year. I'll be Red Rogers. Shoulder punching. Old as fuck. Yeah. Stuffy's similar. I'm guessing so, Ben. I'm guessing so. Too many wives. Yeah. Don't mind though. I don't look a day over 30, over 19. I'm glad you think so. I need this beard tamed. It's getting wild. I need it tamed. $39 again. What do you mean I better not? I better not do what? Stuffies, I'm from the northeast of England. Alec, 2 money guns. Alec, thank you for the 2 money guns. 2 more balloons. Alec, thank you so much for the money guns. Balloons, more balloons. Good to see you, Alec. By the way, Alec, I got your. I'll get you. Well, you can't see it from there. I got your name on the shirt. God's sake, I've forgotten how to blow a balloon up. Wonder how high the balloon level is. No worries, Amelia. Amelia, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much. And I'm glad everybody seems to have enjoyed it. I don't mind having so many wives, Jazz. Drowned his birthday balloons tonight. Indeed, Ben, indeed. Okay, pen. Okay. All right, Alec. Gee, Alec. Where are we? Thank you for the balloon. That's the first one. Blew another one up for you. Reduce. If I had to reduce the number, I keep on forgetting. It's like Seuss all of a sudden is now 1, so I've got to make more space. And the boys are starting to request being husbands. Why? How am I so popular? Seuss, you said you're a wife. A wife, yes. Seuss is a wife now. Is a wife or not? It doesn't matter. No, Seuss, you can be a wife. Yes, I've had husband requests as well. You accept. I'm popular because I'm charming. Do you think so? I must have changed since I was a youngster, because Alec. Number 2. Balloon number 2. Alec, thank you so much. What's going on? Claire, have you been here the entire time? I wasn't thinking that. When I was young, I was not popular at all. And said yes. I'm going to invite it in, and here we are. There you go. You just arrived, Claire. We've been reading a book, Claire. You've missed like 2.5 hours of it. I've been doing a reading stream because everybody thinks I can read. So we've been doing that. So we're just wrapping up. Defrodi, thank you for the heart, me. How are you doing? Oh, Brie, it was classic. Were you here, Brie? You might have been lurking for it. You're invested in the sheep story. What time do you call this? What? What? It has been. I think it's been fun, Claire. Any special plans for Christmas? Do you mean like stream plans, Shanine? It's past my bed. Yes, Mum. Okay, Mum. stream plans. Maybe it's a week or so after this. We'll get birthday out of the way first, and then we'll give it a week. Thank you for the head part, Lou. Outside of TikTok, all right. Not really. No, I think it depends. I think this is the year we're meant to be going to my sister's for a birthday, for Christmas meal. However, her mother-in-law is not in good health, so they might be going down to there, and then I will, and then so we'll just do it whatever. We're always easy. There's nothing ever killing. Alec, I am in UK time, GMT. It is currently 9:32 in the evening. You couldn't sleep, Lou. Waiting to read Adrian. Yes, and getting there. So yeah, other than that, no plans whatsoever. But on stream, what? What's going on? What's going on over there? Is it Alec? Nice. Right. Any is that? Oh, very nice. Okay, cool. Right, everybody. What are you waiting for, Jazz? Waiting for. Nice. Right, anyway, TikTok. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. This is the time where you start spamming me. Oh, right, yeah. You tell me about it. I will, I'll go downstairs and scroll TikTok and send you whatever I send you. I will do that. Right. Okay. The screen's all the wrong places. Everybody, thank you so much for watching tonight. Thank you for being here with me and encouraging me and being, hopefully you understood some of it. Hopefully you did. But I do appreciate you all. So tomorrow is baking stream. So be ready for that. Be ready for baking stream tomorrow. So it'll be tomorrow afternoon UK time. So it might be about, I don't know, maybe 2:30, maybe 3 for baking stream. We will see. It'll be around about then. There you go, first place. There you go, Shanine. You've got first place. There you go, Brie. Excellent. So I hope you're looking forward to that. Hopefully more chaos in the kitchen. And then Sunday will be birthday stream after that. Alec, another balloon. Alec, thank you so much for another bunny gun. Okay. After this, we are definitely going. Good, Lou, good. Right. Alec, again, thank you for another money gun. Alec, where's the camera? Alec, thank you so much for another money gun. Don't have to do balloons, but you do appreciate it. No, that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal for the week is on TikTok, money guns are balloons. Right, before I have to do another one, thank you again, everybody, for the support. I will see you tomorrow for baking. And if there's any money guns and stuff tomorrow, actually also everybody on TikTok, on Twitch, we're only on TikTok tomorrow. We're waiting for you until they reveal the winning house. Oh, okay. Okay. Just wrapping up. Thank you very much, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. End. Okay, right. Rating. Read. Raid has been created. Fantastic. I will try to tune in on my phone for the reveals. Why is it not? Oh, I've got the red now. Right, guys. I will see you tomorrow for baking. Hope you enjoy it. Have a good sleep, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.